So we were studying about the aminoglycoside antibiotics, especially the different drugs and also the mechanism of action, then especially the adverse drug reactions, of course, and especially the pharmacokinetic properties and pharmacodynamic properties. So today we will go through the drug interactions of the aminoglycosides. So they cause the nephrotoxicity and ototoxicity. That's very well known to you. And concurrence use with the loop diuretics, they should not be used. And also the osmotic diuretics, especially mannitol, they should not be used because they may aggravate the toxicity of this, especially the content. So, the risk concurrent use with the loop diuretics, as example, it is also high ceiling diuretics. They have lot of risk. Okay. Risk is there, and whereas the other users, especially the neuromuscular blocking agents and respiratory paralysis increases when used with the inhalant anesthetics or the neuromuscular blocking agent, especially the D-tubocurarine. So the cardiovascular depression may also get aggravated with simultaneous use of the halothane also. That's one of the important thing. And I'll show the synergistic antibacterial effect with the beta-lactam antibiotics, mainly the streptopenicillin, and concurrent use of the AGs with cephalosporin is controversial due to the additive nephrotoxic effect. So especially the highly nephrotoxic drugs of the class cephalosporin should not be used with the aminoglycosides. And high concentrations of the carbanicillin, piperacillin, then the piperacillin are reported to inactivate the aminoglycosides in presence of the renal failure. And coming to the clinical uses, widely they are used in the veterinary practice to treat the local and systemic infections, and also generally the gram-negative bacteria, that is the gastrointestinal tract, urinary tract, and RTI or respiratory tract infections. Especially they are very, very specific to treat the resistant urinary tract infections, because most of the drug is excreted unchanged in the urine. That's how it becomes one of the most effective drug, and also effective against the septicemia, then osteoarthritis, mastitis, and the wounds. So these are administered into the uterus, especially intrauterine treatment to treat the endometritis, and also in the udder, that is the intramammary treatment is also done to some extent. That's also one of the important thing to for us to hear. So the other uses, especially they are used in the topical ointments. Many of the times they are topical ointment, and one of these things is as their pH is matching with that of the uterus and the udder, especially the udder tissue. So there is no irritation at all. Means they are now safe. Especially they can be simultaneously used with the semen, especially in case of during the time of insemination only, this drug can be used. So that's the advantage of these agents over the other agents are concerned. Whereas the narrow spectrum aminoglycosides, the first agent is the streptomycin, and it is one of the oldest aminoglycosides obtained from the Streptomyces griseus. So Streptomyces griseus, that's the first antimicrobial agent belonging to the category of the amino acids, and occurs as a water-soluble white crystalline substances. Use has been declined in veterinary practice nowadays, except in combination with penicillins, or else it is independently, it is not used unless it is very, very specifically needed. And the typical mechanism of action, so you know very well about the protein synthesis inhibitor with 30S binding to these ribosome subsites. And the once again in between these things, small 60S RNA of the 30S subunit of the bacterial ribosomes, then interfering with the binding up of the formyl methonyl tRNA to the 30th subunit. So this is one of the specific mechanism of action of the streptomycin, and this leads to the codon misreading, eventual this especially the inhibition of the protein synthesis, and ultimately death of the microbial cells. And this is the structure of the characteristic this aminoglycoside streptomycin. So you can see many hydroxyl groups are there here. Then also the methyl, especially CH3 groups are there. Then the amide groups are there, in which later they are being modified as per the convenience, and the synthetic drugs are being derivated. So the antibacterial spectrum of the streptomycin is relatively, it's very narrow spectrum antimicrobial agent, especially on the gram-negative bacilli. So it has some activity against the streptococci also. That's the gram-positive bacteria. Especially the susceptible organisms like E. coli, Salmonella, Klebsiella, Pasteurella, Brucella. Yes, in case of brucellosis, the continuous administration of the streptomycin is indicated, which has been replaced now with the newer modern generations of the drugs, because this is highly nephrotoxic and ototoxic. And also the Campylobacter fetus, and also the Leptospira. And Mycobacterium tuberculosis is also sensitive to the streptomycin. So now it is not used especially very commonly because of the toxicity. The alternative, very especially the isoniazid and other anti-tuberculosis drugs, are used to treat the human tuberculosis. Of course, in veterinary there is no other choice. We need to go to streptomycin, or else in case of Brucella, most of the time the culling is advised in most of the animals. Then the streptomycin was the first antibiotic. Please remember that streptomycin is the first antibiotic in the class of aminoglycoside that cured tuberculosis. So first drug used in tuberculosis is streptomycin, and it cured also both the human and also the veterinary brucellosis, especially animal brucellosis. The bacterial resistance to streptomycin develops very rapidly, and only the partial and often unidirectional cross resistance occurs between the streptomycin and other aminoglycosides. So that means the unidirectional, whatever the maybe the cross resistance which happens, the mechanisms of the resistance in different antimicrobials already now it's very well established. So the pharmacokinetic of the streptomycin, so most of the time it is a very typical of the aminoglycosides. Even then we'll study something that's the highly ionized antibiotic, so that it is not at all observed from the GI tract. So after intramuscular administration, gradually it is absorbed from the site of the injection, and peak plasma concentration, that's PPC. So it is about 60 to 90 minutes. Means if you give the injection, intramuscular injection to an animal, it takes 1 to 1.5 hours to reach the peak plasma concentration, and distributed only extracellularly, and attains pure the concentration in central nervous systems, eyes and other tissues, and also the fluids. And it largely remains unmetabolized and excreted unchanged in the urine. That's one of the cause. And also the half-life in domestic animal ranges from the 3 to 4 hours. Then the side effects of the streptomycin, as usual, we have already heard about the ototoxicity and also nephrotoxicity, whereas nephrotoxicity is a little bit more pronounced in case of the aminoglycoside, especially streptomycin, whereas the hypersensitivity reactions are rare. And the clinical use of the drug, especially streptomycin, is always combined with the penicillin. So the treatment of the shipping fever, of course, the foot rot, the mastitis, and other infections, So you here is the vial of streptomycin. It's all a Zydus Animal Health. So it's a world famous. Trade name is the dicrystacin, whereas the generic content is streptomycin and penicillin. So usually whenever we are going to treat the wound, especially in the case of large animals, so always this drug is recommended, even though the streptomycin is a little toxic in the usual course of the antibiotics, especially for 5 days. So it is not causing much toxicity. So the occasionally used as a pesticide to combat the bacterial, especially pesticide means it doesn't need that it should be a highly toxic chemical. Bacterial, fungal diseases of the some of the fruits, vegetables, seeds, and some of the crops. It is also used as the pest. Pest means any organism that is causing the loss to the human consumables. So also control the algae, ornamental, especially ponds and aquaria. So in case of fisheries practice, this drug is used to treat some of the diseases of the fish. Then the streptomycin is also available as the streptomycin sulfate and sometimes the streptomycin tablet. So the dogs and other animals, 15 milligram per kg orally once a day, even though the injection is recommended. But whenever there is a diseases like the brucellosis and very specifically susceptible diseases, then it can be used. Whereas whereas the systemic infections, dog the dose is 5 to 10 milligram per kg IM once daily. So the cattle, the same dose, the 10 milligram per kg once daily. Whereas the poultry, 0.2 to 1 milligram per chick. That is the subcutaneous route is preferred. Then in case of mastitis, the dosage is 100 milligram per quarter. Usually streptopenicillin is administered, whereas the dry cow therapy 500 milligram per quarter intramemory. Still, many of the microorganisms are susceptible to the streptopenicillin is concerned, and especially the bovine ebriosis, this drug is very commonly used. Then the another drug, the second drug in the class of the aminoglycoside, that's the dihydrostreptomycin, and most of the properties of this drug are very similar to that of the streptomycin, but the toxicity is little bit different, whereas it causes more auditory damage when compared to the streptomycin, whereas the streptomycin causes more nephrotoxicity. Enhanced ototoxic effects has restricted, especially in case of veterinary and medical practice, because the hearing impact and also the impairment in the balance, especially both of these are caused, and hence it is not so restricted use in case of veterinary practice. The structure is very similar to that of the streptomycin, except dihydroxy. Two hydroxy groups are extra here. R and R1, you can see that CH2OH is added, especially in case of the dihydrostreptomycin. So the dose is very similar to that of the streptomycin, little, especially there 5 to 10 milligram. Here the double the dose is used. Whereas the second category is, the first category is narrow spectrum aminoglycosides, whereas the second category is the broad spectrum aminoglycosides. So the example is the neomycin. It's a broad spectrum aminoglycosides. See the from Streptomyces fradei. So please remember all these microorganisms which yield different aminoglycosides, and also the different cephalosporins and also the different penicillins. So please prepare a list among all the lecture notes and everything, and put it in our writing pad or in your computer screen, so that you can always remember the particular text. And it is the neomycin is actually a complex 3 compound. That's the neomycin A, or it's also known as the neamine, neomycin B. The neomycin B is called as the framacetine. It is topically used, and neomycin C. So this is complex of three compounds. Neo is A is biologically inactive, whereas the B and C are biologically active. This you should know. It is consisting of three parts, A, B, and C. The B is called as, the neomycin B is called as the phragmycetin, and the neomycin A is called as neamine. The phragmycetin is used as the wound healing ointment. So this commercially available product of the neomycin almost entirely consists of the neomycin sulfate or the salts of the neomycin P, which is biologically active. And the neomycin sulfate exists as the odorless white, slightly yellow hygroscopic powder, and it's soluble in water and slightly soluble in alcohol and practically insoluble in the solvents, especially the acetone and chloroform. So it is one of the highly stable antibiotic among the aminoglycosides classes. So this is the structure A, B, and C. You can see the particularly the neomycin A, which is biologically not active, whereas neomycin B is called as the phragmycetin, which is very commonly used as the ointment preparations. So the structure of the amino acids, here you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4 rings are there, whereas the B ring do contain CH2, NH2, and C is containing the CH2 and H2 in R2 position. Here you can see R1 and R2. When the mechanism of action, nothing more to tell, it is exactly very similar to that of the general aminoglycoside class. The antibacterial spectrum, it is having the broad spectrum antibacterial agent when compared to the streptomycin and dihydrostreptomycin. This is a broad spectrum and includes many gram-negative aerobic bacteria, anaerobic not susceptible, as well as the gram-positive microorganisms. Whereas the Pseudomonas aeruginosa and the Streptococcus pyogenes are not so sensitive, means they are resistant to this particular neomycin is concerned. Then the kinetics, as usual, especially when compared to the streptomycin and dihydrostreptomycin. So these are all called as the quaternary ammonium compounds, poorly absorbed from the oral administration. So usually it is administered parenterally, that is IM injection. So the therapeutic levels can be achieved gradually with peak plasma levels occurring in 1 hour of the dosing. And similar to other aminoglycosides, it is slightly or to some extent, meager extent, it is metabolized and excreted largely as unchanged in the urine. And orally administered neomycin also remains especially unmetabolized in the gastrointestinal tract and excreted unchanged in the feces. That means it is useful in case of the bacterial induced diarrhea, susceptible bacterial induced diarrhea. Then the side effects, nothing to more to tell. It is ototoxic and animals, especially nephrotoxic, but the toxicity is very, very high. So it causes the irreversible damage to auditory division of the 8th cranial nerve. So the total auditory dysfunction will be there, so that the patient cannot hear at all once it causes the toxicity. In kidneys, it causes the very severe damage to renal tubules with albuminuria, hematuria, and formation of the renal casts. And of course, the following prolonged oral administration, it may produce intestinal malabsorption syndrome. Intestinal malabsorption syndrome. And because of this thing, the diarrhea will occur, because whenever the intestine is unable to absorb the water, especially in the lumen of the intestines, then it will be excreted through the feces and causes the diarrhea. And also many times the loss of the digestive enzymes and flattening up of the intestinal villi is seen, whereas the chronic usage has been associated with the fungal superinfections, just like the black fungus disease affecting many of the COVID recovering patients or recovered patients. So this will take the upper hand, especially the fungal superinfection will take. And the contraindications, as usual, or the precautions need to be taken are similar to that of the aminoglycosides. Of course, it should not be used in the patients with pre-existing renal damage or pre-existing ear damage. So oral neomycin is not indicated in presence of the intestinal obstruction or constipation due to the increased chances of the systemic absorption. There is a chance that if the barriers of the intestine damaged, then this is going to be absorbed more and more. So the clinical use of this drug, especially in case of veterinary practice, is oral and topical routes of the treatment of the infections caused by the susceptible bacteria. And of course, the oral administration has been recommended for the treatment of the enteric infections. But the thing is, it should be caused by gram-negative aerobic microorganisms and sterilize colon prior to surgery. That's why the neomycin is administered to the patients before the colonic surgery. So here one ointment is there, that is neomycin, polymyxin B sulfate, and bacitracin zinc, and also with hydrocortisone. And it is an ophthalmic ointment, especially in case of eye infections. So usually the eye infections are caused by the gram-negative dominantly, and also some of the gram-positive microorganisms. So it is an ophthalmic ointment, and it can also be used in case of the skin infections and also the eye infections as well. And another thing is it's also used for orally or in the enema form to decrease the number of ammonia producing bacteria in the treatment of hepatic encephalopathy. So that is one of the hepatic encephalopathy is caused by the overproduction of ammonia because of the gastric or intestinal microflora. So this can be effectively treated with the enema. So here the enema separate preparations are there. Then it is used topically to the skin and eye infections whenever it is caused by the susceptible bacteria. Then it may be combined with penicillins or the intramammary applications in the treatment of the routine mastitis. And it's not used by parenteral route because of the highly toxicity, especially high toxicity to the kidney and also the ear. Oral and topical administration does not what we call as ordinarily cause systemic adverse effects. So of course, we may ask the question whether if the ointment is applied on the skin, whether it's absorbed into the circulation. No such absorption is seen. Whereas it is available as the cephalexin, then the neomycin sulfate and prednisolone intramammary infection is available in some countries. Whereas the neomycin is commonly used in Indian market, especially in the poultry industry, it is used more commonly. The dose as usual. So the range of the dose to the dogs is 5 to 10 milligram per kg, then 10 to 20 milligram. Then whereas the horses it's 5 to 15 milligram per kg. So why the different doses mentioned to different is it's the species difference and the different diseases also make to decide the dosage of a drug. Of course, in sheep and goat and poultry, it is the doses. The respectively, it is 22 milligram, 230 grams per ton of the feed as feed supplement. It is used, whereas in case of water, it is used as the water inside the water 12.5 grams per 100 liters of the drinking water. Whereas in case of the poultry, it is used as the 10 milligram per kg daily, and or else it is as used as the growth promoter of 230 grams per ton of the feed. And phrimycetin or neomycin B phrimycetin is used. Just a minute. Hold on. The structure of phrimycetin is also called as the neomycin B. Neomycin B is very similar to that of the neomycin and containing the different rings, three different subset of the structures, whereas the enteric infections, so same as that of the neomycin, phrimycetin. For acute mastitis, cattle 5 milligram per kg IM 2 times daily, of course. Whereas very commonly it is used as the ointment. And the kanamycin is the aminoglycoside produced from the Streptomyces kanamyceticus. Streptomyces kanamyceticus. And it also consists kanamycin and neomycin. Kanamycin A, that's the major component and is usually designated as the kanamycin, active principle of the kanamycin. Kanamycin B and C are the two congeners, and chemically and pharmacologically, all the properties are similar to that of the neomycin. So, this is effective against aerobic gram-negative bacilli, but it has been not used now because of the resistance development, but very commonly kanamycin used in the topical application and also oral in some times, or else it is its use is declined. Kanamycin structure is depicted here. You can go through the particular structure. And it's especially this kanamycin is used in case of the RTI, means respiratory tract infection, and also the urinary tract infections caused by the susceptible gram-negative bacteria. So the use parenterally for the soft tissue infections, especially in case of the dogs and the cats. So it means soft tissue means, of course, some of the wounds or bruises caused by the external cut, etc. Then it is used. And systemic toxic effects include the damage to 8th cranial nerve and also the kidney. That's the optic nerve and also the kidney. And dogs and cats, the dose is 10 milligram per kg orally, and it is 4 times daily. So you need to remember that 10 milligram per kg need to be repeated 4 times daily. Whenever it is required, then the birds, especially the poultry or the other birds, 10 to 20 milligram. Total dose is 10 to 20 milligram per kg, and it is required 2 times daily. And the paramomycin or aminocidin, paramomycin or the aminocidin, so paramomycin or the aminocidin is derived from various Streptomyces species, and also the Streptomyces rhinosus or paramomycinus, then Streptomyces, that's the catenule, and also the Streptomyces cristomyceticus. So these are all the microorganisms and differs from the neomycin and phrimycetin that it possesses wide spectrum of activity. Of course, it is active against the gram-negative and gram-positive bacteria, and also the tapeworms. That is one of the important thing. Anticystodal aminoglycoside. So please see that the paramomycin is an anticystodal aminoglycoside, whereas this can also be effective in case of entamoeba histolytica and giardiasis. So in case of amoebic diseases like the amoebic dysentery, that is entamoeba histolytica, the paramomycin is effective. this type of the peculiar characteristic one should know, because the drug which is isolated from Streptomyces species, especially the Streptomyces rhamnosus, etc. So this is having the anti-cystodal property and effective against the entamoeba histolytica also. So the structure is like this, and similar to the other aminoglycosides. So this drug is not effectively absorbed from the GI tract. In case of veterinary medicine, the paramycin limited to the treatment of enteric infections caused by the susceptible microorganisms. And it's also used in occasionally, means rarely, for the treatment of the asymptomatic as acute and chronic intestinal amoebiasis. So many of the time, the students do suffer from amoebiasis whenever there is hygiene is not there, especially in the hostels. So at that time, this drug can be given for combating all the three. It's also used occasionally for the treatment of the acute and the chronic intestinal amoebiasis. Of course, now the very good drugs have come like the sexnidazole and tinidazole and so many zoles. So the hepatic form of the amoebiasis is difficult to cure by that drug particular. Then arbacacin is a semi-synthetic aminoglycoside antibiotic, whereas it has antibacterial activity against both gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria. Especially, it is stable in the presence of the aminoglycoside inactivating enzymes, which are produced from the methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, or it's called also called as the MRSA, and used mainly for the short-term treatment of the multi-drug resistant bacterial infections, such as the MRSA. So methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus can also be treated with the arbacacin. So this is the structure of the arbacacin. You can see that it is very similar to that of the other aminoglycosides, but it is having the low NH2 group everywhere, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions, and also with the same thing, especially the hydroxyl groups are free. And the third one is the extended spectrum aminoglycosides. Then the most of widely used aminoglycosides with extended spectrum of the activity and obtained from the Micromonospora purpurea. That's why the name gentamicin. In the initial only I have told the drugs of the class aminoglycosides which are derived from the Streptomyces species are called as MYCIN, whereas if it is from Micromonospora species, then it is MICIN. So please remember this thing. And a genus of Gram-positiva, especially the Micromonospora, is present in the environment, especially present in the water and also the soil. So the gentamicin produced by the genus has its spelling ending in mycin, MICIN, but not MYCIN. So nobody should write the spelling of the gentamicin as MYCIN, but you have to write MICIN. So it exists as the as usual white powder, amorphous powder, and that is water soluble freely, and the moderately soluble in case of ethanol and acetone, and totally it is insoluble in the benzene. Then structure is like this. Then chemistry, the gentamicin is containing a mixture of three components, that C1A and the C2, and all the components cross react with common procedures, and that are usually considered as a single antibacterial agent, combination of all three, just unlike this neomycin, because the neomycin A is inactive. So the gentamicin is commercially available as gentamicin sulfate. So this is one of the very commonly used antibiotic in case of the veterinary practice. So mechanism, nothing more to tell, but it is going to bind with 30S subunit of the bacterial ribosome and interpreting the protein synthesis. the spectrum, especially the gentamicin is a broad spectrum aminoglycoside with extended spectrum, and it is highly active against the wide range of the both gram-positive and negative bacteria, including Staph, Strepto, Pseudomonas, Proteus, E. coli, Klebsiella, Aerobacter species. And it is activity against the anaerobes. That's what this is the lacking area. It is not effective. And emergence of the bacterial resistance in some areas, particularly against the Pseudomonas and Klebsiella, it is not effective. Whereas the organisms resistant to gentamicin are also generally resistant to the streptomycin and neomycin. That means to the entire class of the drugs, the microorganisms will become resistant. But many bacteria resistant to other aminoglycosides are sensitive to the gentamicin. Then kinetics similar to that of the Aegis, other Aegis. Then after IM injection, its concentration reached within 30 to 40 minutes, whereas it takes 60 to 120 minutes, especially in the gentamicin, especially in the streptomycin. And the subcutaneous administration results in slightly delayed peak level. So you need to administer it as IM as far as possible, and when you require the fast result, then you can administer IV. And bioavailability of the this drug following IM or subcutaneous administration is more than 90%. And the similar to the other Aegis, gentamicin is distributed largely in the extracellular fluids. So most of the aminoglycosides are not going to pass the blood-brain barrier, but the gentamicin is distributed largely in the body, and of course it may enter the CSF and also prostate and the eye. So the plasma protein binding is low, less than 90%, and excreted mainly unchanged in the urine. Elimination has been reported to be between 1 to 3 hours in case of the different species of the animals. And traces of gentamicin are excreted in several days in the urine. The reason being is, especially in case of birds, binds widely to certain tissues only. And the patients with the decreased renal functions. Suppose if you have tested an animal and suffering from the leptospirosis, then you should use the decreased dosages, especially in case of the kidney compromised animals. Whereas the side effects, as usual, it is seen in case of the other amino acids. So they considered comparatively less toxic than the other microorganisms, especially other aminoglycoside antibiotic. So you have got the streptomycin, neomycin, and many more. But this antibiotic is less toxic when compared to the other antibiotics of the same class. So the contraindications, etc., are in accordance with their family antibiotics. Most commonly, the human and veterinary medicines, because of the low cost, especially gentamicin, is having the cheap antibiotic used for the treatment of the respiratory tract and also the urinary tract, the GIT. Especially this is effective in treating the bones and the soft tissue infections, bone and the fractures, etc. It will be useful. So topically, it is used as an ointment. Ear and eye infections, this is also used. Then in case of metritis and mastitis, gentamicin can be given intrauterine and intramammary routes respectively. That's the advantage. Generally not given to food producing animals as it causes the prolonged residues. So one of the gentamicin is one of the few heat stable antibiotics. Those remain active even after the autoclaving. Please remember this thing, even after the autoclaving 100 degrees Celsius or more, the activity of the drug would be there only. So this property makes gentamicin particularly useful in the preparation of some microbial growth media. That's how it is very specifically used in such area where its requirement is very much. Dose as usual 2.5 to 5 milligram, which is in the normal range of the aminoglycosides. Dogs and cats, it is 5 milligram. Especially in case of Pseudomonas, it is given 2 times daily for 10 days. So at the dose rate of 2.5 to 5 milligram, then IM 2 to 3 times daily. And the drug is very specifically used in the urinary tract infections. But only one thing is, since it is a nephrotoxic drug, you have to always monitor the blood or the serum creatinine levels. So the dose as usual, which is mentioned as 1.1 to 2.2 milligram in drinking water, especially in pigs, polybacillosis. And camelids 4 to 6 milligram per kg IM, IV or the subcutaneous. And the birds 5 to 10 milligram per kg. And metritis or the endometritis, it is 200 to 500 ml. A solution, separate solution is available, and that you can also make use of. 2% means 2 gram in 100 gram ml. And solution is sterile, then intrauterine once daily for 3 days. Then another class of the antibiotic, that's the amikacin. Amikacin is semi-synthetic aminoglycoside. Then it is sparingly soluble in case of water. And spectrum of activity is very similar to that of the other group. And also it is effective against the microorganisms which are resistant to gentamicin and the tobramycin. So that's the amikacin is effective against the E. coli. And this drug is very commonly used aminoglycoside, especially in the urinary tract treatment. And it's effective against the Klebsiella, proteases, Pseudomonas, Salmonella, Enterobacter, and many more and microbial agents. Whereas the amikacin has the characteristic feature of the aminoglycoside inactivating enzyme resistance. As usual, it is not absorbed properly. So the parenteral administration entirely it happens due to the glomerular filtration, especially animalation T half, especially in the animals is the 0.5 to 1.25 Hz. Whereas in case of horses, it is 1 to 2 Hz, and cattle 2 to 3 Hz. So amikacin is mainly used for the treatment of the serious infections caused by the gram-negative bacilli resistant to gentamicin. So that's the advantage of this drug, especially the amikacin. The indiscriminate use should be avoided. That's the purpose is to minimize the emergence of resistant strains. And toxicity and all other properties are similar to that of the other aminoglycoside antibiotics, especially gentamicin. So this is the structure of the amikacin, which is similar to that of the gentamicin. So the dose ranges from 5 to 15 milligram per kg in most of the animals. Of course, in case of mares in the endometritis is used as the 2% solution in normal saline, then intrauterine once daily for 3 days. And the tobramycin is derived from the Streptomyces tenebrius, whereas it is structurally related to kanamycin, but has improved antibacterial activity similar to that of the gentamicin. Whereas the gentamicin resistant microorganisms, especially if you are continuously administering and the microorganisms, if they become resistant, then these are going to respond to tobramycin, particularly if resistant is due to the aminoglycoside deactivating enzyme or degrading enzyme. the resistance occurs due to the decreased penetration of the drug inside the bacterial cell wall. And then cross resistance usually it remains. So the structure of the tobramycin. The pharmacokinetic properties as usual to that of the gentamicin, and it is used clinically to treat gram-negative infections, especially those that are resistant to the gentamicin. And in contrast to the gentamicin, the tobramycin shows poor activity with penicillin against many strains of the enterococci. Then the dose is as usual 4 to 6 milligram, 1 to 1.5 milligram in case of horses, little bit susceptible. And cecomycin and netilmycin are the extended spectrum anti-aminoglycosides, especially used predominantly in case of the human practice. And cecomycin is a natural aminoglycoside obtained from the Micromonospora inoensis, and it is similar to that of the gentamicin, and netilmycin is a broader spectrum activity when compared to the gentamicin. And this is structure, and also the netilmycin containing is very similar to that of the other congeners drugs. Whereas the other aminoglycosides antibiotics, there are varieties like the astromycin, then butyracin, that's butyrosine, and many more, which is listed here, like dibecacin, isepamycin, etc. Then these drugs, especially the newer type of the drugs, are usually they are effective against very many varieties of bacteria which are susceptible, not susceptible to the gentamicin and congeners. So they have become resistant with the bacteria which are resistant to the regular antibiotics, especially the gentamicin and also the other older aminoglycosides. So because of this thing, the newer and newer generations like the astromycin is known as the 40-mycin A and B, 40-mycin A and B, and also the butyracin and butyrosine, then dibecacin, isepamycin, then lividomycin. So these are all the new class of the antibiotic with an inclusion of propicacin, then ribostomycin, then sagamycin, sadomycin, sorbistin, and the voradamycin are the very recent class of the antibiotics belonging to the aminoglycoside class. So these drugs are always reserved for treating the diseases which are resistant to most of the aminoglycoside antibiotics or the other class of the antibiotics are concerned.
ಚಪಾಟಿ ನೋಡ ಹೊಟ್ಟಿಯಾರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೇಂದಿ ಹಿಂಗಮ್ಮಂತ.
So especially this is about the especially aminoglycosides. So in a very short, what we can say is aminoglycosides are the class of the antibiotics derived from the Streptomyces and Micromonospora species. And the general properties of this drug are they are having the pKa of 6 to 9 and little acidic, this alkaline in nature, and effective in case of the acidic environment. And this class of the antibiotics, they are noted as this. One is called as the gentamicin, which is derived from the Micromonospora, and most of the others are derived from the Streptomyces species. And the general pharmacokinetics of these drugs are, they are very poorly absorbed from the oral route because they are the quaternary ammonium compound with charged molecules, especially. That's why they are not absorbed through intestine, and they are, most of them are the water soluble drug. And after oral administration, they are very poorly absorbed and mainly excreted through the feces as unchanged drug. Whereas the parenteral injection, these drugs are absorbed properly, and it takes about 1 to 1.5 hours to reach the peak plasma concentration. That's about the little pharmacokinetic properties. And the absorbed drug are metabolized and to the very small extent, and is excreted unchanged in the urine, especially. That's why they are very specifically highly effective against the urinary tract infections. And the coming to the mechanism of action, these drugs are going to bind with that of 30S subunit of the bacterial ribosome and going to form the unwanted amino acids, and the peptide of this chain is not formed, and hence the bacterial growth is arrested. And the mechanism of action also includes the binding to the different sites in 30S and inhibiting the bacterial protein synthesis. In one word, we can say. Whereas the individual classes of these drugs are classified as the first generation drugs, like the narrow spectrum aminoglycosides, like the streptomycin and dihydrostreptomycin. The second class is the broad spectrum, which are consisting of the neomycin, kanamycin, pentamycin, and many more. So the important toxicity of these agents, almost all the agents, is a severe nephrotoxicity and porotoxicity. So these drugs are very specifically accumulated in the vestibular fluid and also the nephrons. Hence, they are causing the severe ototoxicity and also the nephrotoxicity. So the one among these class is the amic acid, which is very commonly used in case of the human and veterinary practice for the treatment of the susceptible microorganisms. That's also the gram-negative erupts, especially the E. coli and the other drugs. So the use of these drugs is very much restricted to the gram-negative anaerobes, whereas some of the drugs are having little broad spectrum activity. So these are the neomycin and the kanamycin, amikacin, and parabomycin, etc. So these many of the agents are derived from the soil or the surface acting fungus, that's the Streptomyces species or the bacteria species. And orally, of course, these are not observed, and also through the skin, these microbial drugs are not observed. So this is about the this especially aminoglycosides. So please attend the quiz today, which will be released at 6 p.m. and please be watching your, especially the mail. I'm going to send the link through the mail, and almost all need to attend the same. So thank you very much. So just wait for another 1 or 2 minutes so that I can take the attendance. Okay, all the students are here, 46. Yes. ಆಯ್ತು ಆಯ್ತು. Okay. 2021. Okay. Save. Oh, no second page. Okay, now we can log out. Thank you very much.